just want to get your comments on your opponent threatening journalists.
Yeah, we've heard of this from other journalists. That he seems to have a tendency to do this. It's disturbing to try to intimidate journalists, and not just him. It seems like he's got a group of tweeters who kind of swarm people when they're not happy with the coverage they get, and I just don't think that is. I'm really against it. I get articles a lot that I don't like, and it's the prerogative of the author to take their perspective on it. But when you get to the point of intimidating the press, I think that really oversteps a bound, and then actually saying that what they were intending to do to you was a threat. I've never heard that before. I've never heard anyone do that before in my time in government. So I think that's something I would hope on both sides of the aisle that people would say that's not acceptable.
So my follow-up question to that is, today Trump praised a reporter getting shot by a rubber bullet concerning law and order. He's called reporters enemy of the people. Can you speak out just as strongly about him intimidating?
Yeah, I've never intimidated a reporter. I'm not gonna conduct myself that way. Certainly, on a rare occasion, I've talked to a reporter when I wasn't happy with the story or I didn't feel it was accurate. I thought there was actually something that was blatantly an error. But I guess where we live, I've always believed in relationships, and that there's going to be another day, and I've done that in my business, and I've done that in government. So that's kind of been my approach. That's the approach I'll continue to have.
Would you speak out against Trump for that kind of intimidation?
I would, this is a case where my opponent is treating reporters the way they are. I'm going to focus on myself and my campaign right now. But I'm saying how I've conducted myself as an elected official and how I will going forward.
When I interviewed you, we talked about separation of powers, and then Trump signed these executive orders, basically taking fiscal responsibility away from Congress, and you praised that. So I was a little confused.
What executive orders you're talking about?
Executive orders related to coronavirus, and there were fiscal impacts to them, which is really congressional.
Well, again, anybody can take legal action and determine if that executive order is always debate on executive orders and whether the executive orders have overstepped or not. We are, in an emergency situation. I think that has been pretty much agreed upon. I did commend the president on this act. I think that we have a situation now where people are getting money again in their checks, unemployment checks. It's unfortunate. I'm hoping that we will get back to a stimulus bill, but it seems, from what I'm hearing right now, we're supposed to be in for 2 weeks. At this point in time, Nancy Pelosi is saying it's just going to be one more week because we're nowhere close to a stimulus. I don't think that's acceptable. I think this would get resolved if we would have a stimulus bill, which would have our own unemployment. But on that case, I thought it was imperative, and I believe he's within the bounds of his executive purview. But certainly anybody can take legal action on that. People have done it before regarding Obama stuff.
Question I wanted to ask you about for a while, before we put a press release out on the military appropriations bill, and basically criticizing you because you voted for not renaming the Confederate bases, and I just wanted to get, is that accurate? What's your actual position on that?
No, it's not accurate, because what he did notice too is I voted for a bill removing the statue of the Supreme Court justice who ruled, and the leading person on the Dred Scott decision. So I voted for a specific bill to remove a statue where I thought somebody did not deserve to be in the halls of Congress. That defense bill was a very large bill. There was a lot of provisions within it, and one of them was limiting the ability of the president to withdraw forces abroad. And I believe in what the president's doing, and having some reasoned approach with these, as opposed to these endless wars, endless deployments. This bill was going to preclude that. I did not agree with that. That's the reason I didn't vote for the bill. And I will tell you what, that bill is not in final form. It's going to come back, and at that point, I'm sure I will vote for it, because I think some of the provisions that are in it will not be in the final piece.
And last question. Trump has appointed, and this goes along with your last answer here, Trump nominated William Ruger to become the ambassador to Afghanistan. I realize you don't have any say in that, but Ruger's been very outspoken about getting troops out of Afghanistan, and so I wanted to see, if that's a position you support.
I think, again, we have been in Afghanistan 19 years now, so I think that it is reasonable to try to begin to, what we've started to withdraw a little more, because we just cannot be in endless conflict. And I think we've done a lot of good things in Afghanistan, but at some point, that's what Trump campaigned on. I think generally the majority of people in this country agree for that.